this morning.
Hi everyone, Allison here for Black Cat Scraps. So this is how I painted my craft table. You've probably seen it a couple times in some of my videos. Be sure to prep your wood surfaces and make sure that you prime if it is bare wood. So I've prepped it with primer and I'm sanding it again to get all the bumplies off that have probably gotten on there from priming, and I'm wiping it clean. When I'm not crafting, a lot of the things that I really like to do is work with wood and build things, so I actually built this craft table and it's time for me to paint it. So if you find that like your paint is really thick and really hard to spread evenly and stuff, then just go ahead and add some water to it and make sure you shake it or stir it really well. And then you'll notice it'll go on a lot smoother. If it's still really thick, then add a little bit more water. You want to add your water a little bit at a time just to make sure that you don't overdo it, otherwise you might have to let it air out. And then you'll have to deal with the paint fumes. So I'm going to, of course, take this color and paint the entire craft table. I'm choosing to keep my brush strokes all in the same direction. And if you ever want a paintbrush that is wonderful, I recommend Purdy. So I'm using a foam stamp, and I'm stamping this white paint that has a glazing medium in it, and that helps keep your paint wet longer. That way you can manipulate it longer, or if you need to, you can actually wipe it away and reapply. So I've chosen a checkerboard pattern, pretty easy to do with the one square stamp. I'm just applying a little bit of the paint with a paintbrush to the square and then continuing to stamp. I'm just going to do a border around the edge of the table. And this section was a little too white, so I'm adding more blue, and it also kind of enhances the texture in the blue areas as well as in the white, so that's why I'm restamping it with the blue color, because I like the way the paint looks when it pulls up. I wanted that effect for both colors. Alright, so I'm taking my paintbrush again and I'm just going to do a small strip, and also going to continue the pattern of the checkerboard on just the edges. But what I'm doing with this thin strip of paint here is I want to make sure that I have a nice crisp line up against the checker pattern before I continue the rest of my faux painting here. So I'm going to paint on a square section. I would like to have had it in one full thing, but the paint dried too fast, so I had to do it in small sections, and I'm using crumpled up paper to create a texture. And again, this paint also has the glaze in it, so it can be manipulated a little bit longer than regular paint. And you will have to change out your paper crumples every once in a while, because they will absorb some of the paint and then they'll get soggy, and then you won't have that crisp texture anymore, so you will have to change out your papers. You can also do this technique with a plastic bag, but you tend to go through more plastic bags as well because they'll get paint all over them. So I figured the paper worked a lot better. So now that the rest of the table is finished with the paper faux texture, I'm going to finish with the checkerboard pattern, and I'm just applying the white paint and then stamping the pattern with the square, and as I'm doing this I'm wiping the excess white paint away so that I get some of that blue to show through in the white. In this section it got a little heavy on the white, so it kind of is a little more drastic than the rest of it, but that's alright. I am going to go over it with blue paint as well to continue the texture, as well as to make the blue more drastic so it's not faded with the white, and the pattern ends up popping better. So here's what it looks like in a still photo, and there's also a bottom shelf that I did the same technique with. So you can see both stamping patterns with both colors, how well it looks. So you can see the table matches the theme of the room. So this is the part of the video where I give you all big thanks and hugs for all of your support throughout Black Hat Scrap's journey to where we are today. I hope this tutorial inspires you to spice up a drab piece of furniture in your house. We'll see you soon!